Stop playing the victim, my mother-in-law hissed across the dinner table, her pals barely moving. He wouldn't lie. You're just dramatic. My husband didn't correct her. He took another sip, eyes on his plate. My parents stared at their forks. The room chose a side with a silence that felt like a door locking. My throat burned. I swallowed it. I kept smiling because that was the only language anyone in that room understood. Polite, pretty, quiet. Everyone, my name is Marley Quinn, I'm 29. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. What do you do when one sentence, that wasn't yours, rewrites your entire life? It began like a smudge you can't scrub off a mirror. Her story was simple, convenient, airtight. She told the family I had issues, that I'd imagined things, that I was trying to ruin her son's future. She said it with the confidence of a weather report. One neat lie. Everyone else organized themselves around it like furniture. My reputation became the stain on the good rug, noticed, frowned at, never discussed. The night she said it out loud, the chandelier trembled in the air conditioning. A hairline crack on her favorite porcelain teacup caught the light, thin as a thread, silver as a needle. That crack became my private weather. Every time she leaned in, every time he looked away, the crack glittered at me like a secret nobody else could see. I started folding myself smaller. I apologized for my tone even when I hadn't spoken. I learned the choreography: bake the pie, clear the table, smile through the corrections. Not like that, dear. Use the good plates. Don't overreact. Her lie fit the family like a perfectly tailored suit. I was the loose thread that needed trimming. But the body remembers what the mind tries to bury. The smell of sweet onions blistering in butter. The tacky kiss of wine on his breath as he murmured, "Mom just worries." The refrigerator's red light blinking in the dark kitchen like a tiny metronome counting out a life I didn't choose. The teacup crack widened. I heard it in the walls, a faint, patient tick, 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 like the sound a photograph makes right before it curls at the edges. "Marley," she said once, hand grazing my shoulder in a gesture that would look maternal on camera, "truth is what people agree on." And they agree with him. Her breath smelled like mint and victory. That night, while putting away party linens in the hall closet, my fingers brushed a cardboard box we never unpacked after the move. Beneath old programs and a yellowed playbill, a dusty phone flickered awake for the first time in years. On the black screen, a single red dot pulsing next to voice memos, one, and a file name I couldn't see yet because my hands were shaking. The phone trembled in my hands like it recognized me. The faint glow lit up the hallway's dust particles, tiny ghosts of the years I'd lost in this house. I pressed play. A click. Then laughter. My husband's voice, slurred, boyish. "No, she didn't cheat, Mom. I made that up so you'd stop nagging me about the prenup." Another man's laugh joined, someone from his office, maybe. Then, clearer, "You actually told everyone she was unstable? Damn." And then him again, almost proud. "It worked, didn't it?" I froze. The sound of my own breathing turned foreign, shallow, mechanical. My chest rose, but air refused to feel real. I replayed it twice, each time hearing new syllables hidden in his drawl. The lie that destroyed me, spoken like a joke over whiskey. The walls tilted. I sat on the floor, the tiles cold beneath my legs. The clock above the kitchen door ticked louder than ever, counting down something invisible. The woman who had spent years apologizing for existing, she went silent inside me that night. Another one woke up. In the morning, I didn't confront him. Not yet. I made coffee. Stirred sugar like a ritual. He came down with that same casual arrogance, tie half done, phone in hand. "You used my card again," he asked, smirking. "At least you're consistent." I smiled. "Oh, I'm very consistent." He didn't notice the way I watched him, like someone memoizing the final scene before the credits roll. I had learned their language, their rhythms, their blind spots. I knew how to play invisible. All day, the recording echoed through me, reshaping everything I'd believed about fairness, love, trust. It wasn't grief anymore, it was blueprint. Every move from now on would be careful, quiet, irreversible. That night, while he snored with the confidence of a man still protected by lies, I uploaded the file to a hidden cloud folder and named it simply, Truth. The crack in the teacup wasn't just a crack anymore. It was a fault line. And I was done pretending not to hear it rumble. The next few weeks became a performance I mastered to perfection. Breakfast smiles, polite nods, good luck at work kisses, all delivered like clockwork. But behind every word, I was rewiring my life. Quietly. Precisely. I started saving every receipt, every text, every voicemail. I learned the rhythm of his lies, how they circled back to protect his image. He'd talk about reputation as if it were oxygen. And I, apparently, had poisoned it. His mother kept visiting, carrying casseroles and fake sympathy. "You look pale, Marley," she'd say, eyes sweeping my house like she owned it. "You really should take better care of yourself." I smiled. "You're right. I'm taking care of everything now." Inside, though, I was documenting every glance, every insult, every manipulation. The lawyer I quietly met one afternoon at a cafe said, "You've got enough to undo them both. But timing will be everything." I stirred my coffee, watching the foam collapse. Timing is all I've got left. At home, I rehearsed my silence like an art. The more I said nothing, the more confident they became. My husband bragged about investments I'd never seen, laughed on calls about keeping her busy with house chores. His mother told church friends, we saved him from a mistake. And I let them. Because nothing exposes truth like arrogance. One night, he stumbled home again, drunk, humming the same tune he did when everything was under control. I watched him drop his keys, unzip his jacket, mumble something about a company trip. I simply said, "I'll pack your things." He looked up, confused. "For what?" "For when the world finally sees you for what you are." He laughed, dismissing me. "You'll never prove anything, Marley. You don't even know how to fight dirty." But that's the thing about women like me, we don't fight dirty. We fight patient. And patience is deadlier than revenge. The recording sat quietly in the cloud, untouched. But the countdown had started. Each sunrise after that felt heavier, not from dread, but from purpose. Because I knew the day was coming when his own words would burn the empire his mother built for him. It started with a charity gala. The kind his mother adored, chandeliers, champagne, and gossip disguised as generosity. She invited me, of course. To show unity, she said, her smile sweet and venomous. I wore a silver dress that didn't belong to her world, modern, sharp, unbothered. The moment I walked in, conversations stuttered. They hadn't seen me in months, and absence has a strange power. It turns whispers into myths. "Marley," a woman gasped near the buffet, "we thought you moved away." I smiled softly. Not yet. My husband was there, glowing in his tailored suit, pretending to be the perfect man his mother sculpted. His hand grazed her shoulder as they greeted people, a picture of family stability. But I could see the crack behind the glass. His eyes kept darting toward me, uncertain. When the speeches began, I stayed near the back, near the tech crew's table. My fingers brushed the phone in my clutch, the same one that held his confession, now renamed and encrypted. The file was safe, but tonight wasn't about revealing it. Tonight was about letting him feel the tremor before the quake. As the auctioneer joked about generosity, his mother leaned over to the mayor's wife, saying loudly enough for the table to hear, "Some people pretend to belong, but you can always tell when they don't." Her pearls clicked as she laughed. I sipped my wine and said quietly, "True. Sometimes pretending becomes survival." Our eyes met, hers full of calculation, mine full of quiet fire. The crowd clapped as donations rolled in. She looked away first. Later, as I stood on the balcony, my husband joined me, tipsy, voice low. "You shouldn't be here. It confuses people." I turned to him, the city lights catching in my glass. "No, darling. It reminds them." "Of what?" he sneered. "That lies don't age well." He frowned, unsteady. "You think you scare me?" I smiled. "Not yet." Inside, the violin quartet swelled. I left him standing there, staring into the crowd that was starting, just barely, to notice the tremor too. The fallout began the way most disasters do, slowly, politely, then all at once. 2 weeks after the gala, I received an anonymous email. No message, no subject, just a link. I hesitated before clicking it. When I did, I froze. It was a video, my husband, drunk, same night as that recording. Only this time, he wasn't just talking. He was bragging. Laughing. Naming names. I told Mom she could make her the villain, he slurred. People believe her more, she's older, respected, blah blah. And Marley? She'll just fold like paper. The room behind him erupted in laughter. He raised his glass. To women who don't fight back. The clip was short, brutal, undeniable. I didn't know who sent it, but I knew what it meant. The truth had finally begun crawling out of its grave. By the end of the day, whispers had already reached his office. One of his co-workers called me, anonymously, nervously. They're talking about it, Marley. Someone uploaded the clip to a private group. I think people are realizing what he did. For the first time in years, I exhaled without shaking. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch, lights off, replaying that moment over and over, his smirk, the arrogance, the casual cruelty. I wasn't even angry anymore. Just quiet. Deeply, beautifully quiet. By morning, his mother called. Her voice trembled for the first time in history. You need to tell me you didn't do this. I didn't, I said simply. But it's strange, isn't it? How truth finds its own way. She tried to recover her tone. You'll ruin him. I paused. No, he ruined himself. You just helped decorate the crime scene. When she hung up, I stood by the window, sunlight spilling through the curtains. The house finally felt like mine again. Outside, a gust of wind knocked over her old porcelain teacup on the porch railing, the same one with the crack. It shattered completely this time. And somewhere deep inside, something that had been buried finally whispered, it's starting. The world loves a scandal, especially when it's dressed in pearls and denial. By the following week, the video had leaked beyond the private circle. Someone uploaded it to a social forum, and then another to a gossip blog. Within days, his name was trending. My phone filled with messages from people who had once ghosted me. Are you okay? Did you know about this? I always knew something didn't add up. Hypocrisy is loud when it's scared. At first, my husband tried to control the damage. He called it a deep fake, then blamed office politics. But the truth had a scent, real, human, ugly. You can't fake the way his voice cracked mid-lie, or how the room had cheered. Even his closest allies began backing away. The company launched an internal review. His mother stopped showing up to church. The empire of appearances was cracking faster than their porcelain smiles could handle. He stormed home one night, red-eyed and reeking of whiskey. You think this is funny? He spat, slamming the door. I think it's overdue, I said quietly. He laughed bitterly. You wanted to destroy me. No, I replied. You did that yourself. I just stopped hiding the mirror. He stood there for a long moment, realizing there was nothing left to threaten me with. The fear was gone, from me, not him. He looked smaller, almost fragile, like a balloon losing air too fast. Then he whispered, "You'll regret this." I smiled softly. I already have. That's why it's over. That night, I moved into the guest room, not because I was afraid, but because I didn't want his noise in my silence. When I checked my phone before sleeping, a message blinked from an unknown number. Marley, the truth always needed a witness. Thank you for being brave. No name. No clue who sent it. But I didn't need one. The universe had strange timing, and I'd stopped questioning its methods. Downstairs, the refrigerator hummed, steady, rhythmic. The same red light blinked like years ago. But this time, it didn't feel like a countdown. It felt like freedom rehearsing its first breath. By morning, reporters camped outside the gate. Cameras clicked every time the door creaked. I didn't open it. I simply drew the curtains and brewed my coffee. For once, the noise belonged to someone else's shame, not mine. His company released a statement. Effective immediately, Mr. Quinn has been placed on indefinite leave pending investigation. Translation: he was done. The man who mocked my silence now had the world replaying his drunken confession on loop. His mother tried to salvage control, giving a trembling interview to a small network. My son was manipulated. Marley is vengeful. But when the host asked for proof, her voice cracked. For the first time, she had none. The lie that once bloomed effortlessly in her throat had wilted. That night, I watched the interview alone, the volume low. It was strange, seeing her stumble, searching for words she used to wield like weapons. The queen of appearances, dethroned by her own performance. He came home late, defeated, hair disheveled, the scent of alcohol trailing him like regret. "They're all turning on me," he muttered, collapsing onto the couch. "I know," I said softly. He looked up, eyes bloodshot. "You think this fixes anything?" I studied him, the hollow version of the man who once thought he was untouchable. "It doesn't fix. It reveals." Silence. Only the rain tapping against the windows, like applause from a distant world. I walked to the mantel, picked up the last surviving piece of that porcelain teacup, a small curved shard, smooth and sharp. I placed it in front of him. "You taught me something," I said. "Every lie leaves a crack. You can patch it, hide it, polish it, but eventually, it shatters. Just like this." He stared at it for a long time, then at me. "What are you going to do now?" he asked, almost pleading. I turned toward the door, coat in hand. "I'm going to tell the truth, in my own voice this time." Behind me, the house echoed with the quiet collapse of everything they'd built. Outside, the rain had stopped. The air smelled like beginnings. I didn't go to the press. I didn't need to. The truth was already alive, breathing through every conversation, every headline, every whisper that once used to bury me. I just watched it unfold, patient, unhurried, poetic. A month later, I met my lawyer in a quiet downtown cafe. He slid an envelope across the table. Finalized. Divorce granted. Assets frozen pending settlement. I nodded, tracing the embossed edge of the paper. It wasn't victory I felt, it was release. Like stepping out of a costume I'd been forced to wear for too long. He'd moved back with his mother by then. The neighbors said the house was quiet now, blinds drawn, laughter gone. She'd stopped attending her charity events, claiming health issues. Maybe guilt had its own disease. I packed my things slowly, the photos I actually wanted, the books that had waited in silence. When I walked out the door for the last time, I didn't look back. Some ruins aren't meant to be mourned, they are meant to remind. A few weeks later, a small brown parcel arrived at my new apartment. Inside was that missing porcelain teacup, glued together, edges still jagged, mailed anonymously. No note. Just the object that started it all. I placed it on my shelf, not as a relic of pain, but as proof that what breaks can stay broken, and still be beautiful. Sometimes, late at night, I replay his drunken words one last time before deleting the file completely. Not out of forgiveness, but closure. His voice no longer shook me, it merely reminded me how far I'd come. Now, I wake up to sunlight spilling across my own kitchen. No lies, no corrections, no pretending. I pour my coffee, breathe, and let silence mean peace instead of punishment. People often say truth destroys families. Maybe. But sometimes, it just rebuilds the person they tried to erase. If this ever happened to you, say same in the comments. Because some of us didn't just survive the lie. We learned how to outlive it.